I know what I'm about to say is sort of a duh moment, but Bryan Fischer is a shitbag. A tremendous fucking shitbag. Because I'm gonna read an article from the AFA, the American something or other, the American Family Association, I think. And what he says in this article is the shittiest, craziest fucking thing ever. At least that I've seen. Anybody on the right say. And I always check the CWFA for crazy shit. But these slavering, slobbering hyenas in the Republican Party, by tearing at the flesh of their own senatorial candidate Todd Akin, are doing their best to blow their shot at taking control of the Senate. By eating their own, they are consuming themselves, and they seem too brainless to know it. Or they actually do have a brain and are saying, maybe we don't want this brainless shitbag in fucking office. Maybe we don't want this insensitive prick in office. Maybe they're just having a change of fucking heart. It's unlikely as fuck, but it's possible. You expect a Jaws-like attack of this nature from winger left liberal sharks who mercilessly go for the carotid artery whenever they smell blood in the water. But this mindless, freakish, and frenzied, forcible assault on one of their own by the GOP and its allies in the conservative punditocracy could be the thing that hands the Missouri Senate seat to the hapless Claire McCaskill. Now, is she hapless because she's a woman or hapless because she's a Democrat? It's a legitimate question. If he loses the race, it will be the fault of party poobahs, not Todd Akin. Actually, I think it would be the fault of Todd Akin, because Todd Akin is a crazy shitbag who should learn to shut his fucking mouth. It's not the Republican Party's fault that they threw him under the fucking bus. It's his own goddamn fault for not knowing when to shut the fuck up. One of the party leaders actually suggested that last night that the GOP try to run a third-party challenge to their own candidate. That would be a certifiably guaranteed way to forfeit victory to the opposition. You can ask Bill Clinton all about that. Akin's words, for which he apologized even though he had no need to, actually yes he did because he's a fucking know-nothing shithead, were right. He was entirely correct to say that pregnancies and cases of forcible rape are rare. What the fuck is not forcible rape? Rape in and of itself is forcible. It's a violent, heinous fucking act. What the fuck? Do these motherfuckers not realize how sick and shitty their fucking words sound when you put them together like that? Even if the exaggerated figures of the pro-abortion medical community are accurate, pregnancies due to rape amount to just 0.005% of all pregnancies. That's rare in anybody's book. Because of the horror of assault rape, which ought to be a capital crime again in the U.S. as it was for most of our history, we can be grateful for that. Akin has been pilloried by members of his own party for just suggesting that in cases of forcible rape, again, forcible rape is fucking redundant. Does this motherfucker not proofread his shit, or is someone else writing this shit and he's just spewing it and putting his name behind it? Fucking Christ. Which is what he was talking about. Which makes no fucking sense, because that's redundant. The trauma of the event may interfere with conception. This, he suggested, is one of the reasons why pregnancy due to rape is rare. He did not, by the way, say that pregnancy was impossible in rape, just rare. Ooh, okay. So what? He's a fucking shitbag. He is a fucking asshole. He is 3,000 pounds of shit in a 200-pound fucking bag. Unfortunately for the nattering nabobs of negativism who think Akin is some kind of medical Neanderthal, the London Daily Mail, because the Daily Mail is so fucking well known for its Objectivity has a headline story today, which has this as the very first paragraph. Stress can make women infertile. Research has revealed. Scientists found that those with high levels of a stress hormone stop ovulating and are therefore unable to conceive. Unquote. Yes, but I'm pretty sure it has to be consistent stress over long periods of time. And I actually read the I read the Psychology Today article that Bryan Fischer posts from August 20th, 2010. And I read it, and when I get when I read down far enough, I'll actually go into why what he says is stupid. Who look like the dumb ones now? You still do, because you're religiously fundamental retards. The Mail article goes on, quote, the research was presented yesterday at the annual conference of the European Society for Human Reproduction and Embryology in Prague. Unquote. I'm going with Todd Akin and the European Society for Human Reproduction on this one. How about you? Are you going to side with Todd Akin and modern science, or with the jackals who are trying to put Akin out of the Democrats' misery? Funny how you go with science when it suits you, but when it doesn't suit you, you fucking decry it. Just saying. I wouldn't take your word if you were the last human on the earth besides me and you said there was a fucking thing behind me. I'd rather die than have to deal with your shit. Here's the American Society for Reproductive Medicine. Quote, in an occasional woman, too much stress can change her hormone levels and therefore cause the time when she releases an egg to become delayed or not take place at all. Unquote. Sounds like maybe her body can shut down the process after all. So I'm actually going to click on this link, which says American Society for Reproductive Medicine. It takes you to a PDF, which I'm pretty sure Bryan Fischer didn't read, or anybody from his thing actually read it. Let's see. So okay, so one of the questions is this: is stress causing my infertility? The answer, probably not. Even though infertility is very stressful, there isn't any proof that stress causes infertility. In an occasional woman, having too much stress can change her hormone levels and therefore cause the time when she releases an egg to become delayed or not take place at all. So, I mean, Bryan Fischer, whoever wrote this article, quote mined, because there's an entire sentence before what he actually quoted, because he quoted in an occasional woman, too much stress can change her hormone levels. Before that, it says, probably not, even though infertility is very stressful, there isn't any proof that stress causes infertility. Is infertility causing my stress? The answer, maybe. Many women who are being treated for infertility leave as much stress as women who have cancer or heart disease. Infertile couples experience stress each month. First, they hope that the woman is pregnant, and if she is not, the couple has to deal with their disappointment. Why is infertility stressful? Most couples are used to planning their lives. They believe that if they work hard at something, they can achieve it. So when it's hard to get pregnant, they feel as if they don't have control of their bodies or of their goal of becoming parents. With infertility, no matter how hard you work, it may not be possible to have a baby. Infertility tests and treatments can be physically, emotionally, and financially stressful. Infertility can cause a couple to grow apart, which increases stress levels. Couples may have many doctor appointments for infertility treatment, which can cause them to miss work or other activities. Funnily enough, there's this little thing at the end of it that says, who can help us? Resolve is a national organization, a support organization for couples with infertility. For information on local chapters, you can reach them at Somerville, Massachusetts. Also, support information and weekly internet chat sessions can be found through the American Fertility Association at, I'm not making this up, afafamilymatters.com. And so, another thing, he actually doesn't mention that this thing is about this thing by the American Society for Reproductive Medicine is actually about stress and infertility, and how stress can affect infertility, but stress doesn't cause infertility. Is stress causing my infertility? Probably not. And then, like, there's an entire sentence before he actually, or whoever did this, actually quote mines the fuck out of it. So, what can I do to reduce my stress? Talk to your partner. Realize you're not alone. Talk to other people who have infertility through individual or couple counseling or support groups. Read books on infertility, which will show you that your feelings are normal and can help you deal with them. Learn stress reduction techniques such as meditation, yoga, or acupuncture. Avoid taking too much caffeine or other stimulants. Exercise regularly to release physical and emotional tension. Have a medical treatment plan with which both you and your partner are comfortable. Learn as much as you can about the cause of your infertility and the treatment options available. Find out as much as you can about your insurance coverage and make financial plans regarding your fertility treatments. So, again, Bryan Fischer doesn't mention that this is about infertility. He just says he just saw stress and can change hormone levels and therefore cause the time when she releases an egg to become delayed or not take place at all. But there's an entire sentence before that that sort of reveals what this is about and not do you guys get what I'm talking about in respect to this, where he doesn't mention that it's about infertility specifically and not just stress. And I'm going to read again. This is the question. Is stress causing my infertility? Probably not. Even though infertility is very stressful, there isn't any proof that stress causes infertility. Then it says, in an occasional woman, having too much stress can change her hormone levels and therefore cause the time when she releases an egg to become delayed or not take place at all. So it doesn't really say anything. That's more geared towards infertility and answering a question about infertility, not stress and infertility and a link. Sounds like maybe her body can shut down the process after all, but again, after like long periods of stress. How about the New York Times article, or the New York Times, the Bible of Wingers on the left? Here's the headline of a May 11, 2011 feature article. Lowering stress improves fertility treatment. The article refers to findings published in the Journal of Fertility and Sterility and quotes Dr. Alice D. Domar, psychologist at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, who serves as director of Mind Body Services at Boston IVF, a large fertility center. So, I'm going to click on this. Okay, so he just read the he refers to the article, and he only like quotes. He quotes the person as saying, "If you're really stressed out and depressed, the body seems to sense that that's not a good time to get pregnant." So let's see. Did he actually read this entire article? I don't know. And this is about in vitro fertilization. 143 women were in the study, ages from 40 years old, who were about to begin their first in vitro fertilization cycle. Basically, the results, this is just the abstract, but I will actually look into the thing. Conclusions. MB participation was associated with increased pregnancy rates for cycle 2, prior to which most subjects had attended at least half of their sessions. And the results are only 9% of the MB participants had attended at least one half of their sessions at cycle 1 start. Pregnancy rates for cycle 1 were 43% of all subjects. 76% of the MB subjects had attended at least one half of their sessions at cycle 2 start. Pregnancy rates for cycle 2 were 52% for MB and 20% for control. And now let's actually go into the article. And god damn it, of course, and I can't look at it. That sucks. Because I actually wanted to check the facts, but it's behind a fucking paywall and I don't have enough money to actually pay it. So he's lucky about that. Dr. Domar's study involved giving infertile patients therapeutic counseling along with medical service. Let's go back to the abstract of this. So let's see. As far as I know, it doesn't say that they're infertile. They're just trying in vitro fertilization. But again, I can't actually read the full text of it because there's a paywall and I don't have enough money to buy it. I wish I did. If you're stressed out and depressed, the body seems to sense that it's not a good time to get pregnant. Yeah, but again, that's usually, I think, long-term kind of stuff, but it could be acute stress. But Dr. Domar's study involved giving infertile patients therapeutic counseling along with medical advice. Her findings: after 5 mind-body sessions, 50% of the women participating in a stress reduction program had become pregnant, compared with 20% in the control group. Okay. Again, I can't really go do anything about the claims because I can't actually see the article. Really wish I could, but I can't see it and see if he's quote mining, so. But, okay. Shall we try psychology today again? Not exactly the house organ of the vast right-wing conspiracy? Shall we? In August 2010, August 12th, or 20th, 2010 piece by Dr. Connie Shapiro, professor of family studies at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, says the same thing. Studying research into levels of the enzyme alpha amylase, a biological indicator of stress, she reports that women with the highest concentrations of this enzyme were, quote, 12% less likely to become pregnant each month than those with the lowest levels. So I actually can read this article. And this actually is also sort of, weirdly enough, this talks about Alice Domar, and this says it's Dr. Connie Shapiro that is doing the article. The article was made by Connie Shapiro, but it talks about stuff from the Domar Center. It talks about Alice Domar. Let's see what he quotes. So we're 12% less likely to become pregnant each month than those with the lowest levels. Okay, so to break, I think, yeah. So this is where the actual sentence starts, where it gets quoted from. The breaking news published online in the journal Fertility and Sterility and summarized this week in the science section of the New York Times is that women who stopped using contraceptions took longer to become pregnant if they had higher saliva levels of the enzyme alpha amylase, a biological indicator of stress. Specifically, women with the highest concentrations of alpha amylase were 12% less likely to become pregnant each month than those with the lowest levels. And again, there's stuff about the specific women that they're talking about. And it was women who stopped using contraception, that it took them longer to become pregnant than because if they had higher concentrations of alpha amylase. Okay, so let's go to another quote. Shapiro's conclusion, quote, the researchers say that theirs is the first study to link a biomarker for stress with delayed conception in normal, healthy women, and they suggest that identifying ways to reduce or manage stress may be a low-tech solution for some couples diagnosed with infertility, unquote. So, let's see where that is. The researchers say the researchers say theirs is the first study to link a biomarker for stress with delayed contraception in normal, healthy women, and they suggest that identifying ways to reduce or manage stress may be a low-tech solution for some couples diagnosed with infertility. Alice Domar, executive director of the Domar Center for Mind-Body Health at the Fertility Center Boston IVF, responded to the research findings by saying, "This is one more piece of the puzzle that's adding up to the same conclusion that stress is not necessarily a good thing for our reproductive system." Okay, so the bottom line for Shapiro, there is now, quote, scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women. Even low levels of stress can have an impact on conception. So let's actually go and try and find that quote. This is one more piece of scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women. Scientific evidence. Scientific evidence. Scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women. Okay, so actually, this is taking a lot longer than it should, but I want to be thorough. So the quote they use is scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women, and then the ellipses. So scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women. The full sentence is that. So we are coming full circle, acknowledging the obvious that infertility causes stress, and now addressing the scientific evidence that stress delays time of conception in healthy women. The researchers remind us that stress is the one consistent factor that shows an effect on how long it takes to get pregnant. Of all the lifestyle factors studied to date, more surprising is that even low levels of stress can have an impact on conception. And that's the again, like the ellipsis, P ellipsis is, even though like that's even though levels of stress can have an impact on conception, actually is from another fucking sentence. In fact, she adds, stress is the one consistent factor that shows an effect on how long it takes to get pregnant of the lifestyle factors studied to date. And funnily enough, if you actually go and look, he quotes it and has a capital S. Stress is, in parentheses, stress is the one consistent factor that shows an effect on how long it takes to get pregnant of all the lifestyle factors studied to date. And the full quote is, the researchers remind us that stress is the one consistent factor that shows an effect on how long it takes to get pregnant of all the lifestyle factors studied to date. So, who knew? Well, Todd Akin for once. Yeah, because he really read this research and came to the same conclusion that you shitbags have. There's a sad lesson on loyalty here from this irrational rush to judgment on the part of the Republicans. Joe Biden has been a walking gaffe machine since 1988, and yet the members of his party have his back to this day, because he's not saying vile, hateful bullshit. And maybe the people behind the Republican Party are thinking, maybe we shouldn't encourage this kind of wailing bullshit behavior. Todd Akin uses one word that was grossly misinterpreted by his enemies, and the members of his own party throw his carcass to the jackals. Now that Akin has decided to stay in the race, as he should, ignoring the hysterical bellows and the pitchforks, the ruling class Republicans will have to eat some crow and reverse themselves by resuming support for Akin's candidacy. Actually, they could just say, go fuck himself, say he's not a Republican anymore, and throw him further under the bus. Certainly, they cannot be so stupid as to commit harakiri, really, by withholding help because they're in some kind of snit, can they? Lesson from all of this is, quote mine the shit out of enough studies and you can bullshit your way to much of anything. If you're a Republican and you want a friend in the party, you better buy a dog, and he better be a big one, because you'll need him to protect you from your own kind. Bryan Fischer, you are a shitbag. The biggest shitbag I've ever fucking seen. You quote mine the fuck out of things to leave out certain sentences that sort of give context to the quotes that you're using, and just sort of say, oh, it's stress. There's research that shows stress is doing this and doing that. When there's entire sentences that sort of talk about certain things and say, well, stress doesn't cause infertility, but infertility does cause stress. And you're a shitbag. You really are a fucking gigantic shitbag, and you should just shut the fuck up and bury yourself in your backyard in a fucking coffin. Peace.